I hope you're all doing well, and thank you for the newcomers and those who are just coming into my channel. Today, I want to discuss about something with you. I want to share some thought. You know, what I do basically in this channel is just discussion. I barely do vlogs or things like that. I hope with time, I don't know yet. So without further ado, before people say I humble too much, as you can see, no notes, I didn't prepare anything. So we are going, please forgive me if I say stuff that you maybe don't necessarily understand, but also you don't have to agree with me with everything that I'm gonna say in this video, okay? But I've been thinking about it, and that's why I have this, I feel like I want to share that with so how can I start it? Okay, you know, I have a discussion because I've been thinking about it many times. You know, when I go online and I look, sometimes I talk with people maybe younger than me, I will say like that. I have to admit, because I also watched a video of Thomas Sowell. To those who don't know Thomas Sowell, maybe you can check about him. He is an American economist. I think he's economist. He's also Thomas Sowell is, I think he's economist. He's a historian, because if you go to his YouTube channel, you will see he talk about history very easily. That man is highly educated. That man knows so many things, and I will come back to him later. He's also a philosopher, if I'm not wrong, and also he also talk about politics a lot. You know, you will see him for political comment and things like that. Thomas Sowell is still alive, and the first time I heard about him was with Candace Owens, of course, because she talked about him often, and I was curious to know who was Thomas Sowell later on, because after that I was also discussing with my sister, and she also told me, no, but you should read and you should listen to Thomas Sowell. It's very interesting. So I've made two person, and I was like, okay, I think it's about time for me to check who Thomas Sowell is. It's very interesting, and I also subscribe to his YouTube channel. You will learn a lot from him. Okay, the point of my video here is what is something that I noticed. Okay, I noticed that I noticed that the education system, I don't want to say in the world, but maybe most of the parts, like from my country to other countries, even in America, because Thomas Sowell is talking about it, has completely downgraded. What I mean by that is, like, when you talk with people more and more, especially younger generation, you see that there is a lot thing missing in them. And even from my time, you know, from my sister time to my time, there is already a change. There already a fall into the education system. I remember when I was young, around the 90s, my father was completely concerned about the education system in my country, and he was right, because when even you go back home, it is difficult to see that people will have very strong analysis and comprehension of the situation of the country. You know, you can judge the level of literacy. I don't know how to say it, because sorry, I don't speak English as a first language, but the level of literacy and understand by the way the population understand the issue, or the way they will analyze the issue of the country. Okay, when you have people, when you try to explain to them some situation and they still don't get it, or they are always stuck to a system that doesn't even help them a lot, or that actually doesn't even build, the capacity of being independent in a way. Last time I had someone who had a comment, and I really want to appreciate that, because it's true that when the person who comment on my other video, when I was talking about Central Africa, the problem that we are not even worried about the education system or what other system we have in our countries. And I was also saying that you will see that people are not worried about the fact that we don't have public libraries. And for example, in my country, we don't have a public library at all. In my hometown, there is no public library. It's shocking. You have university who has no more a library and no more proper materials, okay? You have a country, I mean, it tells what it tells. It tells a lot that the authorities were not thinking a lot about the education system. It started degrading little by little, because back in the days, the education system was good in my country. We even have people coming from other countries coming to teach in my country. There were contractor, professor, university professor, even high school teachers who are coming from abroad and to come to teach in my country. But little by little, it's starting to be very difficult to see that. Okay, it was very interesting. It was very important contract they were doing. The teacher were coming, or the professor were coming from university from other countries in Africa, or from France, even from Europe, or sometimes even from America. We had, but with time it has completely changed. We don't know what happened, and we still have few countries of Africa coming to teach, but it's less and less, So when he says something that, yeah, but the problem is, even when we get this education, or these books that we are getting are mostly books from the knowledge of the West, in a way. I think he wants to say that in a way we are still being colonized in the way, because we are still learning from their books. But the question will be, so where are our own books? Because even in my own country, we don't have a proper history book to explain the history of my country. For me, even learning from the history of my hometown, the capital city of my country, because I read the history of my hometown through my cousin who wrote the book, because he did the research. He went to study geography, history in Europe. He had his doctorate in it, and then later on he came back, and then he studied something about, it's kind of really complicated, but he did all these studies, and then he came up with a book of the history of my country. And also he came up with, he also wrote a book about the rural and the system of how the city is built. It's different type of books he wrote, okay? And I've learned through his book a lot, things that I didn't know from my high school years, okay? It's shocking. When I went back home in 2019, I didn't find the National Archive in my country anymore. When I was young, most of the afternoon when I was going to my high school, okay, in the afternoon after class, I will always stop either at the library of the French Cultural Center Cultural, because the French, they have their library, and also when you have your own books at home. So I was balancing the two to get more knowledge. And also in the afternoon, most of the time, I will go to the National Archive of my country. of my country, as was in my city. National Archive of a country is very important because you remember your history in a way. So it was a pleasant time to be sitting there, just taking time to read. When I went back home, the archive, the place was there, but the place where that was open to the public wasn't there anymore. And most of the document, we found out that the people of the archive were trying to save, because listen, it's the history of the country that is here. So most of the documents that they were trying to save were now stuck in some places where, the archive document, everything that you have in archive have to be protected in temperature, Usually for us, it will be something like a little bit coldy, not cold, but something like cold, close to cold. You understand what I mean? So you have been to the archive, right? So you understand what I mean? So we didn't have it. So the people working, they had so much concern about the case of the situation, because the ministry that is in charge of it didn't take care of it. So they took their own money to pay the system of putting the cold temperature to protect the archive. But still it wasn't enough, because there were some times where they didn't have this cold temperature. And I am from a country where it's a tropical country, tropical equatorial humidity, and humidity is the enemy of document, and you know that. And by the way, they were also subject of visit of rodents like rats and things, because since it's on the coast, just across the sea, the National Archive, we have also the effect of the wind, marine wind. So you understand that it has to be a lot of care about. Me, when I went to Washington DC, I was curious to see how the archive was, because I was applying for being like a volunteer in the archive. I don't know if it was the archive or the Smithsonian, something like that, but they took me in the background there, not the place where people were reading, but the place where people were working, volunteering to save the archive. I saw how things were organized. I saw how they had all the proper material. It was a complete structure in the background of this archive. Back home, not at all. Okay, so this is one thing. So I want to talk about the education system in a way that you see that there is, in countries like mine, there is an intentional desire not to make the people being educated, and that is very important. And I want to talk about it because I saw a fall of the way people are thinking and speaking and even writing. I don't say that I speak good, I write best, but there is how do we say, a basic, and when you don't see that basic and things are completely that's when you have a lot of concern about the situation. So I will get into more detail what I want to say in video 2, part 2.